Thank you so much for joining us online today. We so appreciate you checking out this message. We hope you enjoy it and are inspired to live more and more like Jesus Christ by His grace. If you would like to support the ministries of Rancho, you can do so at rancho.tv/giving. Set up a giving profile and a reoccurring gift. We'd sure appreciate that. Enjoy.
We are at the tail end of this life plan series. And as we get through this, I want us to just ask this one basic question. Why make a plan? Why make a plan? I mean, why not just live life, spontaneously? Why do we have to, do work? Why do we have to write stuff down? Why do we have to, Because the more we make plans, the more successful we're going to be. That's just the way it goes. If we just kind of leak into life and just live, kind of as the wind blows we go, it's going to be good. It's going to be fine. But it is better to make some plans. Now, I'll be honest, it is not always the best to make detailed plans. Now, some of you are planners. You make all kind of detailed plans. My family, don't tell anybody, ditched church today to go to Disneyland. One of my family members made a plan like every minute of the Disney day is all mapped out, right? So plans are good, but sometimes maybe we can over-plan a little bit. Are you an over-planner? Sometimes over-planning can kind of suffocate a day and suffocate the spontaneity. So, planning is good. Over-planning, I don't know. But why not just meander? Why not just meander through life? As the wind blows, we go. It sounds kind of fun. Sounds kind of loose, right? Sounds kind of a little bit of California or Hawaii culture or whatever. Just go with it, right? There's a time and a place for that as well. There's a time and a place for spontaneity. So there's a little bit of a discernment. When is it good to make a bit of a plan, and when is it good to just kind of ease up, live free? I'll give you a little illustration, I guess. We are campers and hikers. We have an RV, we go places, put the RV there, and we hike almost every day of our vacation. All 4 of our kids love it every day. That's not true. But that's what we do. It's like we see stuff, we hike, we get outside, we don't just want to kind of huddle up, we want to get out in nature, right? And one of the places we love to go to the most is Yosemite, Tuolumne, that kind of area. And so we have hiked Lambert Dome for a while, years, and it's something we've done a lot. That is a planned hike. We want to get here. We want to get to the top of that mountain. That's the destination. We're not meandering, that's where we're going. And we can go there up the face of that mountain, which is gnarly. We took our 8-year-old twins and we almost died. So there's another plan, right? To go up the backside of the mountain, right? But all of that is about getting to the top. A destination with a plan. We go this way, we go this way, we're getting here around this time, we're getting down the hill this way, it's a plan. This is a different part of Yosemite. It's the west side of the main valley. It's called Big Oak Flat. There is no trail because it's all granite. Granite and trees that are in the, crevices of the granite. There's no trail, there's no plan. We pull off to the side of the road, we get our lunch, and we just start walking. Could be there, could be there. Oh, that kind of, crest looks good, let's try that. That boulder looks good, that kind of cliff, let's look over, and it's just this meandering, and that's good too. Sometimes we need a plan to get to that destination, and that's good. Other times we want to meander spontaneously, and that's good too. This whole series is kind of based on the book of Proverbs in the Bible. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your plans to the Lord. Commit your plans to the Lord. Very simple verse. In order to commit our plans to the Lord, it means we need to have a plan. Good job, you did it. A plan. It's like there's an assumption here that we're going to have a plan. We're going to have a little bit of an idea of where we want to go. And commit those plans to the Lord, which means, hey, listen, my life came from God the Creator. My life is a gift from God, and I'm kind of responsible for my life, and I want to make the most of my life. And yes, I want to live free at times, and I want to meander, and I want to explore the spontaneity of life, but listen, this life is too important not to have a plan. That's what this life plan series is all about. Now, in some areas, we're used to having a plan. When it comes to our education, we all have a plan, predetermined, pre-scripted plan when it comes to our education. You go to preschool, and then you go to kindergarten, and then you go to first grade, and then what? Second grade, and then what? Third, okay, we even number it. The plan is numbered, right? We know the education plan, and then maybe you go off to college, and there's the plan. There's the 4-year plan, and then, we have an education plan. For those of you who are athletes, There's an athletic plan. I got a sport, I got a position. That position has skill sets. I'm good at these, need to work on these. You have a plan. If you're an artist, you have a plan. We then create career plans and savings plans and retirement plans. There's some areas of life that we're pretty good at planning. But there's other areas of life that we do not plan. We're not good at it. It's not normal, and we're missing out. That's what this series is all about. For example, what is your life mission? We're not real good at planning that out. So we talked about that earlier. What's our life values? We're not good at planning that out. So that's what we talked about at the beginning. In this section here, we're talking about the 3 healthy places that we need to plan in our life. Every healthy person needs 3 healthy places. And here's how it goes. Your first place is home. Your second place is work. Your third place is where you go to socialize. 2 weeks ago, we talked about home. Last week, we talked about work. Today, we're going to talk about the place we socialize, the 3 places. Now, there's science around these 3 places. There's science around the third place in particular. So let me show you what are the conclusions of some research around the third place. Third places such as coffee shops and clubs improve one's quality of life by providing spaces where one can rest, escape from the mundane, socialize, and emotionally discharge, ultimately elevating the well-being of individuals. 3 healthy places elevates the well-being of individuals, particularly that third place. It's not home, it's not work, it's a different environment where we socialize. And it's a whole different kind of quality of socializing. It's not about family, it's not about our vocation, it's about where we choose to go, the environment we choose to be a part of, and the people that are our people. So there's things that we do in this healthy socializing environment that we're calling the third place. We can disconnect from the stressors of life. And oftentimes that means disconnecting from the stressors at home to go to the third place, disconnecting from the stressors of work to go to the third place. So sometimes that third place is a disconnecting from the first and from the second, and that's okay, we need that. That third place is also about connecting with people you enjoy. That is very carefully scripted. The people you enjoy. That means you are choosing a place where you're hanging out with people that you choose to hang out with, that you get along, that are your people. You have a choice in your third place. If you don't enjoy those people, you ain't going and you're finding another spot. It's your place where you hang out with people you enjoy to do something wonderful together. That's an option. You're getting together, you're having a good time. Maybe we can do something wonderful. Or maybe we just do nothing at all. And that's fine. To just do nothing at all. We all need a third place. Psalm 133 verse 1 says this, "How wonderful and pleasant it is when friends live together in harmony." Just a wonderful little passage that says, hey, listen, all of us need a place to gather together with our people, with people we like, with people that have the same interest as us, with people that are together as friends, living at peace, because home life is not always peaceful. That's kind of work. Work life is work sometimes. That third place isn't work most of the time. It's just this good place of friends gathering together, living together in harmony. You've heard about Starbucks. 30 years ago, Starbucks was launched, and it was launched as America's third place. Mr. Schultz, the CEO, specifically launched Starbucks to be America's third place. It started in Seattle. And so he built these environments. It wasn't just a coffee shop. It wasn't a coffee counter. It was an environment where there was thoughtful and creative architecture and decorations, decor. And there were tables and chairs investing in the infrastructure of gathering. And that was fairly unusual. And Schultz knew the science of the third place that was emerging. Wanted to be America's third place. After a couple of decades, that started to fade. 2 reasons why. Number one, it is expensive to build places where people hang out and don't buy stuff. So, you know the deal. You go to Starbucks, at least back in the day, and it's all filled with people with their laptops, and they got one small cup of coffee, and they're there for 7 hours doing their work. Like, that is not a good business model. You can't build enough space at that kind of quality and that kind of retail environment to have it pencil out. So Starbucks says, this isn't gonna work. This is not enough volume. There's not enough, space for people to hang out and not buy stuff all day, every day. And so they changed their business model to mobile apps and drive-throughs because they just needed volume to pay the bills and pay their people. And you can understand that. It's just too expensive to build third places where people just hang out. So Starbucks is no longer America's third place, and that's by policy. They just can't afford it anymore. Plus, they didn't want to be America's public bathroom, and they were. I mean, you're taking a road trip. You're not going to the gas station to go to the bathroom. You're going to go to Starbucks, and if you're a decent human being, you're going to buy something and then go to the bathroom. If you're the devil, you're going to go to Starbucks, use their bathroom, and take off. So Starbucks said, hey, codes on every restroom, we are no longer America's public bathroom. So they had to tighten up some stuff. So they're not America's third place anymore. Now there's other coffee shops popping up that, hey, we're going to try to create these environments and we're going to welcome people all day. So, I no longer say, hey, we're going to meet at the Starbucks, because I know it's just going to be lines of people with pickup orders. It's not a good environment anymore to hang out. And so we're going to go to the places that are now being built as third places with environments that you can enjoy and spend some time and relax. So what is your third place? Do you have a third place? If not, I'm going to give you some ideas. A third place can be a gathering just for fun. Just for fun. In fact, there's a verse in the Bible that I kind of like, but I don't like how it's worded. Psalm 118:24 says this. It might be a very familiar verse to you. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Have you heard that verse before? Some of you a million times. I just don't like the way it's worded. Let us rejoice and be glad. I've never used that phrase. I never will use that phrase in the real world. It's just too, strange. So the Message Bible has another take on that verse. This is the very day God acted. Let's celebrate and be festive. A little more casual. It's an invitation to gather for fun. But still, I've never said the phrase, let's celebrate and be festive. So here's another translation that I like the best. God made today. Enjoy it and have a great time. That's the SDT translation, which is the Scott David Treadway translation. Just to be transparent about where it came from, I think it's faithful to the Hebrew, right? There's two Hebrew words in there. One is more formal, one is less formal. Enjoy this day that God made and have a great time. That's the spirit, I think, of God who wants us to enjoy this life and have some fun. Enjoy this life and have some fun. This life should not be a grind. It should be fun. Now, I know there's difficult times. Not all of life is a barrel of monkeys, right? There's tough times, but even when times get a little bit difficult or extremely difficult, we can still choose to have this mindset that says, as Evan said, and as we sang, sometimes life and sometimes enjoyment is hard fought. But we can do that. I've got a great friend, known him for 12, 13 years. He's had a hard 2 years. He has battled for 2 years. And he recently came to the conclusion that his life may not get much better from here. And I'm talking through that with him, and he's sharing these things, but he says the same thing, convincing himself, I'm going to enjoy today. I woke up today. God is good today. Other people have it worse than I do. These are just good, healthy things. And he says, I've got so much to be thankful for, and then he gives a list. There's struggles. But he always, at the front of his mind, has a list of things to be thankful for. Even when life is tough, you can choose to enjoy it. Proverbs 17:22. Happy heart is good medicine. A cheerful mind works healing. Don't you love that? Heart and mind. What we feel, what we think. We can choose to say, listen, the world around me isn't feeling great right now, and my thoughts are kind of going sideways, but I could push new things in. I don't have to succumb to that. I'm not a victim of what I feel. I'm not a victim of these thoughts that are flooding my head. I can push good things through my feelings and through my thinking. So I'm going to say the things that are healthy to say, this medicine, this health, which is our perspective. I have so much to be thankful for today, and here's my list. Here are these wonderful people around me, right? Here's the beauty of creation. We get to live in Southern California. How amazing is this? Finding things to say, I'm going to take pleasure in this very day. It's a good place to be. There's a couple of things to consider when we gather in that third place for fun. there's a couple of different definitions of fun. I call it fun one, fun two. So fun one is amusement, entertainment, or lighthearted pleasure, right? My family ditching church, ditching me to be at Disneyland today. They just did it. We're doing fun one today. We're doing lighthearted amusement today. I've got some FOMO. I'm not a huge Disney fan, and I love you all, but I'm gonna miss out the rest of the day. I don't know what I'm gonna do the rest of the day. Invite me somewhere. I don't know. So they're having fun one, and we need to have fun one. We need to just have a good time, amusement, entertainment, lighthearted. So some examples, pickleball is taking over the world. If you don't have a fun place to be, just start playing pickleball. Temecula was building like 1,000 courts in the Ronald Reagan Park. I think they're maybe done or close to done. Pickleball's taken over. Why? Because we desire to have a good time together, right? To just have fun and to play. We need to play. We're wired for play. This won't surprise you. There's a ton of science around playing, particularly with kids. Piaget had a huge amount of research around playing in the lives of kids and what that means for their well-being and their mental health and even their academics. Kids who play more study more. It's just the way it works. We're designed to play. Then when we get older, it's like, I'm too cool for the room. Playing may not be an adult thing. And so we stop playing. Start playing. Pickleball. I golf. My wife runs. I have no idea why running is her fun. I mean, that's insanity. She runs 4 miles, 3 days a week. I could drive 4 miles a lot quicker than you can run 4 miles, but that's her socialization. That's her fun. I don't get it. She tried golfing once, and she judges me hard for it. It's like, okay, that kind of fun we'll do separate. Maybe it's going to the gym, not just solo stuff, but like your community, your people, playing. This might sound weird, but play with your spouse. If you and your spouse don't play, you gotta play. Some of you are going, well, like what kind of play? It's like any kind of play. Play with your spouse. First service had more naughty minds than you do. Play with your kids, play with your grandkids, get on the ground with them, laugh out loud until your stomach hurts kind of play, right? We need that third place of play. When we play and when we laugh, our bodies are flooded with all the good chemicals that make our minds healthy and our bodies healthy. And some of you are like, I don't know if I'm the play type. Okay, that's fine. Find some place to just laugh. You may not be playing, but laugh with people. Go with your people to your favorite restaurants. And don't just make it all serious, or this is a book club. It's like, okay, fine. But you're not laughing. You're not having fun. Like, let those chemicals flow. Coffee shops that are okay with you hanging out at, parks, beaches, hikes. We've got everything in Southern California you can imagine. Find your third place with your people and talk and laugh. That's fun one. Then there's fun two. Fun two is an enjoyment of the things of life. An enjoyment of the things of life. It may not be, amusement. It may not be this lighthearted stuff, but it's this decision that says this life should be fun. In my home, in my work. Now there's work at home and there's work at work and there's struggles of life, but generally speaking, life should be fun. That's fun too. I said this a few weeks ago, I'm sure you have it memorized. I was getting pressure by this one corner of my world that says grind, 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 more, harder, harder, harder. And I had to just say, listen, I'm 55 years old. I do not want to grind out the rest of my life. I just don't. And if you're telling me to grind and work 12-hour days and not spend enough time with my family, I'm not going to grind. I'm going to have fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it. It may not all be amusing, but if it's not fun too, deeper fun, I'm not going to do it. I've got this life to live, made in the image of God, a creator who has designed all this to enjoy, and I'm not going to be the guy in the corner grinding life out. And neither should you. Have fun. Ecclesiastes 5:18, it is a good thing to receive from God and good health and enjoy life under the sun. That's God's heart for you. Enjoy this life. So are you having fun in life? Are you having fun in life? Big picture. If you're honest with yourself and you're thinking, I don't think I would define my life as fun, go get some fun. Find a fun third place. Find a fun third place. So that third place can be a gathering for fun. That third place can be a gathering for meaning as well. A third place gathering for meaning. This isn't just having a good time. This is, hey, we're meeting together. We're gathering together. This place is for a purpose. We're going to do something good. We're going to do something meaningful. We're going to do something that's going to make this community or make this world a little bit better. And so we're gathering for a very specific cause. It could be a humanitarian cause. It could be, to coach up young people. It could be to help people in need, whatever it is. Gathering for a cause. Gathering for meaning. Galatians 5:13 puts it this way. You've been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. In other words, we're not gathering to do what we want. We're gathering for a greater purpose. We're gathering for meaning. And what's that meaning? To instead use your freedom to serve one another in love. That's an awesome third place. It could be a nonprofit. Let me think of a random nonprofit in town. Oh yeah, Mission Hope. That we founded in 2009, right? And have since, acquired or merged in 3 other great nonprofits. And so we've got this amazing work called Mission of Hope that feeds thousands of people every single month, that has case management to walk in a relationship-based way to get people to their best, to independence and to freedom and self-sufficiency. And we've got these single-family homes for 2-year transitional housing. And we've got this a village for single moms and their babies. And to watch them go through the program and graduate and then give back to their community, serving one another in love. It's like that's hundreds of volunteers. That's their third place. They get together, they love serving, they love each other. Their third place is about meaning. Now there's 100 nonprofits in this city. Find your jam, and if you don't think you have a lot of time, or you don't think you're maybe in a place to serve on a regular basis, find one time, one day to serve one time and see what happens. Just try it out. Find a third place of meaning. So a third place can be a place of fun, it can be a place of meaning, and it can be a place called the church. A third place gathering as the church. Now listen, church can have its fun elements. Church can certainly be meaningful, but church is distinctly different than any other third place you can imagine. It is a one-of-a-kind third place. And I want to talk through that for just a minute. In order to figure out why church is such a unique third place, I think we have to start by asking the question, what is church not? Church is not about religious services. It's just not. Now, the understandable lingo, the understandable vernacular is, hey, I'm going to church. And you might think you're at church this morning. Where you are this morning, live or online, is not church, but a church service. And it's a great church service. I think it's going okay so far, right? We're not done yet, but so far, I think it's going okay. You're at a church service, but this is not church. I'll give you a little story here. When I was 5 years old, I went to church services in a bus that looked like that. Now this is old school Temecula, Rancho, California, hillbilly zone here. And my parents were church people growing up, and they thought, hey, we're gonna do the right Christian thing. We're gonna stay home on Sunday and send our kids in this creepy church bus every Sunday to go to Sunday school. And so they were in their coffee and their robes, waving to their little children getting on a creepy church bus, and off you go, and they'll be back at some point. That was the good Christian thing to do back in the day. So I'm walking out of this bus like, you're not going, but we're getting in this bus, and that's okay, all right, so here we go. That was Rancho Church, by the way back in the day, like 1970s. That wasn't church. That was a creepy church bus taking me to Sunday school. Most of the time, they took me back. That wasn't church service. And then our family went to Christmas and Easter. And I hated those services, hated them. I mean, there's the hymnals and the thing, and nothing against traditional church, but a kid doesn't like that stuff. So I'm going to traditional Christmas, traditional Easter, and there's all kinds of hymns and all kinds of languages that I don't get, these and thous and King James Bibles. And I mean, get me out of here, truly get me out of here. That was Christmas service and Easter service. I hated it. It wasn't church. Church for me started when I was 14 years old, and this church introduced me to the most amazing youth group. That was my church. Sunday service was just a service. Christmas and Easter, didn't like it. But that youth group, those were my people. That was my third place. They loved me, they welcomed me, they embraced me, and just walked with me through all of life, and some of it wasn't that easy. That was church to me. Church is not religious services. Church is not religious checkbox. Say we're a Christian, we go to church. Church is not a way to please God. God does not need to be pleased. God's fine. He's not insecure. God was not wondering, oh, I hope they go to church for me today. I mean, please. That's not God. We don't go to church to please God. Oh, God will be happy with me today. He might answer a prayer of mine because I went to church. I endured the horror of going to church, so God's going to be happy with me. Let's get over that. Church is not being told what to believe and how to live. A lot of times, and this is understandable, people go to church because, oh, I agree with the pastor, and what the pastor says, I'm going to nod, and what the pastor tells me to believe, I'm going to believe. How the pastor tells me to live, I'm going to pretend to live like that, right? That's kind of old school church. I think we're past that. Nobody needs to tell you what to believe. You got the Bible, you got the Spirit of God, you got each other. You know, hey, let's walk this journey, and whatever voices come out here, hey, take it or leave it. Doesn't bother anybody up here, right? We're a community on a journey together, learning from each other. So that's what church isn't. What is church? What is church? I'm going to give you the definition of church right out of the book of Ephesians. It's a big definition, and why it is so unique. Such a one-of-a-kind third place. Church is the ongoing mission and ministry of Jesus on earth. That's church. Church is the ongoing mission and ministry of Jesus on earth. Jesus was on mission and ministering for 3 years. For the next 2,000 years, the Spirit of Christ and the Word of Christ we have to advance the cause of Christ. He was here for 3 years on mission. We've been here for 2,000 years on mission to advance the cause of Christ. That's a one-of-a-kind third place. There's places that are just for fun. Those are great. Those are healthy. There are places that are good for meaning, that might align with the heart of Christ, and those are great. But there's something one of a kind about the church. It's not just a series of worship services. It's not just a place you go because you agree with whatever. It is the very living, breathing body of Christ on earth. Ephesians 1:23, the church is the body of Christ. What that means is we are here in the body, right? People, flesh, blood, human beings here together, collectively living out the mission and ministry of Jesus on earth. Jesus is not here in the flesh. He came, he was crucified, he rose from the dead, and he sent his Spirit to us, and he says, continue my work. Now let's be honest. Sometimes the church royally screws up. Look at church history, it's a disaster. We've got a lot to apologize for in church history. We got a lot wrong. Some violence that just the church celebrated and funded and rose up armies. It's like we're sorry that wasn't aligned with the cause of Christ. We let leaders over 2,000 years do terrible things. Oh, let's not talk about it, let's pretend. We are sorry, that is horrific, not aligned with the cause of Christ. We get a lot wrong we have to apologize for, but the church does unique good on this earth to show off Jesus. What he says, we try to say. What he did, we try to do. That's the church at its best. And that's a very unique third place. Very unique third place. Ephesians 4:16 says he makes the whole body, the church, fit together perfectly as each part does its own special work. Every one of us doing our own special work in this church. And it helps us grow, the various parts grow, so that the whole body, the church, all of us together, this wonderful third place, is healthy and growing and what? Full of love. That's the church. Healthy gathering of beautiful people trying our best to say what Jesus said and do what Jesus did. Healthy, growing, and most of all, full of love. So thank you for being a part of the church, and thank you for being a part of this church. It's a wonderful place. You are wonderful people, and we are doing wonderful work to advance the cause of Christ. We're going to close in a song that we just have to do. It's like a law. You can't do a sermon about the church without singing the song Build Your Church, right, Evan?
It's sacrilegious.
Yes, it would be sacrilegious.
Sure.
This song has a cool, almost 3 parts. There's the verses, which just kind of claim some truth. Then there's a response in the chorus, right? How does that work out?
Yeah, it's my favorite style of songwriting, especially in Christian music. But there is this declaration of who God is, and then there's our response. Those are the verses. The response is the chorus. It's saying, "Hey, this is who you are. So this is our response to that." That bridge, the bridge of this song, is kind of declaring, "Hey, we are your church. So we're asking you." Build your church. Help us to become what you have called us to become.
And the song is based on Matthew 18, which is like when Jesus started the church. It's the founding of the church. Jesus says to his disciples, a bunch of ragtag people, he says, listen, you're the church. And you're going to build the church upon the rock. And Jesus says, maybe arrogantly, that's me. You're going to build this incredible movement on the whole earth. Not even the forces of hell are going to be able to stop this. This is the cause of love, that you are going to move forward in all the earth, in my name, built on the rock of Christ. Nothing will stand in your way. So it's an invitation. God, build your church, and we're your church. Let's all stand together and sing this out as a great declaration of this truth.
Alone, our chief cornerstone, no other foundation can we build upon, not philosophy, nor the wisdom of man. All other ground is sinking sand. Upon this rock, you build your church, and the gates of hell will not prevail. When we bind and loose, we proclaim your truth, and in Jesus' name we will not fail.
Crucified, raised up from the dead, captivity captive, it is midnight. He gave us keys, his authority, and now we join hands through the praise of his blood. Build your church. Sing.